Hello YouTubers. Hey, welcome to my channel, The Virginia Bushcrafter. If this is your first time here, my channel is all about learning and practicing the skills of bushcrafting, prepping, and survival in the wilderness. So guys, I thank you for taking some time out of your day to come here and chat with me, because I really wanted to share with you an experience I had concerning land navigation on November the 30th, 2024. Now guys, on November the 30th, 2024, in my jurisdiction at this particular wildlife management area, there are many wildlife management areas here in my jurisdiction, but some of them have different rules. At this particular wildlife management area, November 30th was the very last day that you could hunt deer with a rifle, a shotgun, or a muzzleloader. So since I had not been out, I wanted to take an opportunity to go and hunt on this last day. So when I arrived at the location, I'm always thinking about practicing and improving. When I got out of my vehicle, I have a Bushnell GPS. It provides you with 3 waypoints, directions. I've walked as far as like 3 miles using this, and it works very well. I also have, and the reason that I use it is because it will always bring you back to your vehicle. But also, I have with me is a silver compass. I've been using this compass since at least 2014. And I've become very familiar with it. It works well. So I get out of my vehicle. I go to a location that I am very familiar with, but I go through it, and I did not want to put up trail marker tape, the orange trail marker tape. So again, just as practicing bushcrafting skills, I scored some trees, and by scoring the trees, I mean I made indentations, removing some of the bark about chest level in the front and just above my head in the rear, and I use a knife to do that. This is a Bowie knife, a 512 Browning hollow grind drop point. This is the knife I always take with me when I'm hunting. And so I scored the trees. So I get there, I sit there for about 2.5 hours to 3 hours. Did not see any deer, did not hear any deer. So I said, well, let me at least make it worth my time for even coming here. So there's some trees with a lot of fatwood. And as you know, fatwood is at the junction of the tree and the branch of a fallen pine tree or a dead standing tree. So I used a Coleman saw to saw the fatwood. So I gathered the fatwood, gathered my backpack and everything. I go back to my vehicles, and I'm following the trees that I scored. It's just practice. I get back to my vehicle. I decide to go to a location that I have never been to before. Never. Because it was mountainous. And I'm saying I know there has to be deer there because I'm away from a lot of people. I'm away from the road. So I get out of the vehicle. I set my GPS. I know where my waypoint is for my vehicle. But it's all about practicing and having confidence in your compass. So I take out my silver compass. I aim it at an azimuth, which is an identification point. I think there was a particular tree I used as an azimuth. azimuth. My bearing was east 110. So I'm going to be walking into the woods at east 110. And every 30 yards or so, I'm going to shoot another azimuth, close my compass, walk to that location, check my back bearing or my back azimuth, and continue to walk. Shoot another azimuth, so on and so on, basic leapfrogging. I do this, and I know I'm going in east 110, which I know I'm going to return at west 290. So I'm going through the woods, and I'm going through the woods. I go down a ridge, I go across a creek, and I hike up another ridge. Again, I'm at east 110, just going up, going up, going up. So I find a nice spot. I'm sitting on a log for about another at least 3 hours. No sign of a deer, nothing. So I know I can hunt until about 30 minutes after dark. But being up in a mountainous area that I'm not familiar with, I didn't think it was safe. So I decided to start trekking out of the woods. I set my compass, I take my silver, I set my compass at west 290. But it develops a bubble and it still shows north in the opposite direction. I'm shaking it, trying to find out what's going on. It's just not giving me the right direction. So I revert back to my Bushnell GPS. Now when I left my vehicle, I had 4 bars on here. When I got up into the mountains, there was a bar that lasted for about 2 minutes. And this GPS system kept telling me, okay, you're 394 yards away from your vehicle. So I'm going to follow this, but it goes off and then it tells me that I'm 407 yards away from my vehicle. It's telling me everything except the right direction. Now, however, I do have a Sun 2 MC2 that I did not bring with me because I have only used this 3 times. And I felt more comfortable using a tool that I've been using since 2014. So the GPS system is not telling me anything that is right, but it managed to tell me something that's right. Okay, you're at 394 yards and now you're at 387. You're headed west. Go this way, go that way. It's like, this is not right. And I cannot depend on the compass because it's telling me definitely opposite direction going. It's telling me to go north and I know, telling me to go east and I know I should be going west. So I think I have about maybe 20 or 15 minutes of daylight. I said, okay, there's no worries. Stop, get your bearings together and think about what do you have on you? Well, I have a knife. I have a saw, I have a hatchet with tinder, as well as some fat wood. And there is just loads of wood around me. I'm dressed warmly. I have a military poncho. I have plenty of water. I have food. I'm saying this would be the great time to actually come into the bush or the woods and really have to spend a night here when you did not anticipate doing so. However, that wasn't going to happen. For the fact that it was November the 30th, the very last day to be in the woods with a rifle. And I kept thinking, can you imagine what would happen if I come trekking out of the woods with a rifle on my shoulder on December the 1st? And I meet a person that I cannot identify as the game warden. So I elected to continue trying to follow this GPS system that did not work properly. So I had on my headlamp. Long story short, I made it back to my vehicle. I start walking, I'm walking, I hit a trail, and I see some orange trail markers. And I just follow them up this ridge. And I guess maybe half a mile or a little closer, I start to recognize the area that I'm in. But this compass or the GPS system is not functioning. I just know that I was supposed to come back west 290. So I get back to my vehicle, and then it dawns on me. Well, you have a telephone, a cell phone, with a compass that you could have just put in west 290 and come back. Or you could have put it in the walking mode, it would have brought me back. Would it have worked? Well, I think out of a compass, a GPS system, out of three things, maybe I would have got a signal, it would have worked. So I get back to my vehicle and I think how to avoid a situation like that again. Now also, had I stayed there all night, even if I had harvested deer, I had other tools with me. I have a tool for, I could have field dressed the deer, a bone saw for the sternum if necessary, and a caping knife. So since I did not harvest a deer, I would not have a use for those tools. But those are some of the minimum tools that I take with me whenever I'm going out. When I'm going out into the bush, I'm going to have some form of a hatchet or an axe, something to chop with. I'm going to have a saw. I'm going to have a large knife. I'm going to have navigation tool with me. So I get back to my car and I'm thinking, what is one way that this could have been rectified? Well, let's start with what you should know as navigation. A good compass, and become very familiar with that compass. Knowing how to use that compass, knowing the parts of the compass. Something that I have not done is develop my pace count. I have not used what is known as ranger beads or pace beads. These will provide you with the distance you have traveled. Pace beads or ranger beads. And lastly, a topographical map. I am very familiar with topographical maps. I just not have purchased a topographical map. Topographical map will tell you the steepness of a hill. It will show you the rails. You can identify how far you've gone, where you exactly are. But here again, I have not used a topographical map in the woods. So I say that and wanted to share this with you, share this experience with you, that navigation is very, very important going into the bush. You may go to an area that you are familiar with, but it's very easy to get turned around in the darkness. But at no time did I panic, because in some way I was kind of like, well, I can stay here all night. Had it not been for the fact that the next day was December the 1st, there was no way I was going to come trekking out of the woods with a rifle on my shoulder. So guys, I just wanted to share that experience with you, and again tell you the importance of learning navigation. It's bit by bit. Become very familiar with your compass. Know azimuths. Know your bearings, which is bearing is just basically an angle. You know you're going to be going at an angle. If you run into something, you know you're going to have to change that angle and go back around. Things of that nature. So I just wanted to share that with you. Again, navigation is very important. Make that one of your priorities. I will be going out to learn my pace count, go up an ascending walk, a descending walk, and a level walk to combine the average to get my pace count. And so I don't run into this situation again. But all in all, it was a fun experience, great experience. It makes you think and lets you know how much you don't know and what you still have to learn. So guys, with that, again, study land navigation, and I'm going to see you on my next video. This is the Virginia Bushcrafter signing out. Take care, everyone.